All right, oh, there we go again. Shower head. That's all right. At least it's only 12:24 today and not quarter after 3. So yesterday I noticed that my head was down the entire time, so I'm going to try something a little bit different today. I'm going to try holding the Bible while I read it. It's ingenious, I know. Thank you for the applause. So today, uh, second second little story in Genesis, a little bit shorter. This one's Adam and Eve. So, this is the account of the heavens and the earth when they were created, when the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. Now no shrub had yet appeared on the earth, and no plant had yet sprung up, for the Lord God had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no one to work the ground, but streams came up from the earth and watered the whole surface of the ground. Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. Now the Lord God had planted a garden in the east, in Eden, and there he put the man he had formed. The Lord God made all kinds of trees grow out of the ground, trees that were pleasing to the eye and good for food. In the middle of the garden were the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river watering the garden flowed from Eden. From there it was separated into 4 headwaters. The name of the first is the Pishon. It winds through the entire land of Havilah, where there is gold. The gold of that land is good. Aromatic resin and onyx are also there. That's a little excerpt in parentheses. The name of the second river is the Gihon. It winds through the entire land of Cush. The name of the third river is the Tigris. It runs along the east side of Asher. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. And the Lord God commanded the man, "You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it you will certainly die." The Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." Now the Lord God had formed out of the ground all the wild animals and all the birds in the sky. He brought them to the man to see what he would name them. And whatever the man called each living creature, that was its name. So the man gave names to all the livestock, the birds in the sky, and all the wild animals. But for Adam, no suitable helper was found. So the Lord God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep, and while he was sleeping, he took one of the man's ribs, and then closed up the place with flesh. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to the man. The man said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man. That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh." Adam and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame. One of the first things that I kind of noticed that was interesting, the trees obviously had to have some kind of discernible look to them, right? Unless God just imparted the wisdom on Adam to know which one was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, um, and which ones were the ones that he was able to eat from. So either it was just kind of a thing that he was given to know to not eat from it, or there was some kind of, I don't know, maybe it had red leaves, or it had a green trunk. I don't know. It could have been anything. I just think that's very interesting to think about. Yeah, we pretty much got the description of what eating kind of looks like. Has the 4 rivers. I knew a couple of the names. Apologies if I messed anything up. It doesn't have the pronunciation next to some of the words that are a little tricky. But then we have God saying that, Adam gets to name all the animals. I mean, I think that's the first example of free will, right? Because God didn't tell us what the animals were called. He said, he gave Adam the permission. He brought them to the man to see what he would name them. I mean, he named every single animal. I must have taken a long time, but it's just kind of cool to think about. I mean, where do the names come from? Uh, it's just kind of what Adam thought of. It was like the first kind of creative thing that we got to do as a human. But at this point, Adam and Eve are still like the perfect creation. They haven't fallen into sin yet. So I don't know. Maybe that leads into like why the names fit the animals, or I don't know. Interesting. What are your thoughts about that? That's actually going to make the question today. I couldn't come up with a question before I started reading, so I'm going to make that. Uh, Let's do it. Why? There we go. All right. So that'll be our question for today. Yeah. I mean, and that's pretty much it then. Well, not pretty much it. That's it for the animals. Then we finish off with, the first anesthesia, if you would. Adam was put into a deep sleep. He took out a rib and he closed up the place that he took it from with flesh. Then he took the rib and he made a woman from it. And then this is where the first instance of what is foreshadowing, with what you hear, what I'm going to be hearing in like my wedding ceremony in just under a year now, is, that is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife. That's where we get our first, man and woman. And it ends by saying that they were both naked and they felt no shame because there wasn't anything wrong with it, which is even kind of funnier to think about, that whenever we see depicted in movies or shows today, you see a naked person and automatically you get a mature rating or an R rating, and you don't let your kids see it, and you freak out if your kids are exposed to that. Well, some parents nowadays are not as avoiding of that topic, but back then it was, well, not back then, right at the beginning, they were naked and they weren't ashamed. It says it right there. So that's just, to go around naked is kind of silly to think about, but it was normal back then. All right, I'm officially past the 7-minute mark, and I was hoping to keep this one shorter. I flabbergasted too much monologue, if you will. So yeah, just let me know your thoughts about it, and thanks for watching.